Let's get right into it. Number 7. The temporary traffic cone empire. Imagine a single orange traffic cone placed on the side of the road just for a day, they said. A tiny, innocent marker meant to whisper, "Hey, maybe don't drive here." Nothing dramatic. Nothing permanent. But then, the day ends, then a week passes, then suddenly it's been living there long enough to qualify for a mortgage, and you're starting to wonder if the cone is paying property taxes, or if it plans to run for office. Your brain, being the overly optimistic little gremlin it is, tries to rationalize this. Construction must still be happening, you think, despite the fact that no worker has been spotted since the dinosaurs took their final stroll. But your mind loves patterns. Even if the pattern is, this random cone is always here, and you've accepted it like a nosy neighbor who just never moved out. Psychologically, humans get weirdly attached to things that stick around long enough. It's called the mere exposure effect. The more you see something, the more normal it feels. And nothing gets more exposure than a cone that's been roasting in the sun for 4 presidential terms. Eventually, you stop questioning it. The cone becomes part of the scenery, like trees or that mysterious stain on your office carpet that HR pretends not to see. And the punchline? Temporary infrastructure is like temporary tattoos. They promise a short stay, but suddenly you're explaining to people why you still have a faded butterfly on your ankle years later. The cone was supposed to leave. Instead, it inherited the earth. Somewhere in the background, a single ominous boop echoes, like the universe just pressed a mysterious button. Number 6. Post-it note purgatory. You know that thing where you jot down a quick reminder on a post-it note, just something tiny like buy milk or email Karen, and promise yourself you'll throw it away the second it's done? And then somehow that sticky square survives the fall of empires, multiple desk cleanings, and at least one move to a completely different apartment? Post-its were invented for temporary organization, but your brain treats them like sacred runes. You can't throw it out too soon because, what if I forget? And you can't throw it out too late because then it feels like acknowledging your own chaos. So it just stays there, on your monitor, on your fridge, on your soul. Psychologically, you're dealing with something called object permanence for anxiety. It's the mental glitch where you believe that as long as the note exists in the physical world, you're still in control even if the reminder says something absurd like, call dentist. And you genuinely cannot remember if that was from last week, last month, or the Bronze Age. Your brain keeps it because it's easier than deciding whether it still matters. And that explains why post-its evolve from bright little squares to faded, peeling relics that feel like archaeological artifacts. At some point they stop being reminders and start being roommates quiet, yellow roommates with terrible handwriting. The punchline? The most temporary thing on earth somehow becomes the final boss of clutter. It was supposed to last 24 hours. Instead, it outlives your enthusiasm for 90% of your New Year's resolution. A soft ripple in the air hints that something even stranger is drifting your way. Number 5. The forever furniture. For now, you ever grab a random side table off the curb or inherit a wobbly lamp from a friend because you need something, anything, just until you get the real piece you want? And then suddenly that temporary gremlin of furniture becomes a permanent resident, taking up space like it pays rent? You swear you're going to replace it. You tell guests, "Oh, that? Yeah, that's just temporary." But deep down you know the truth. That table isn't going anywhere. It survived 3 moves, a spilled drink, a breakup, and at least one existential crisis you had at 3 a. It's not temporary, it's immortal. This happens because of a cognitive trick called status quo bias. Your brain is basically a lazy golden retriever that wants everything to stay exactly the way it is, because that's easier than change. So the temporary table becomes familiar, then normal, then essential. Before you know it, you're defending it like it's a beloved family heirloom. Furniture acquired just for now also hits this weird psychological sweet spot where it's ugly enough that you don't care what happens to it, but useful enough that you won't get rid of it. The perfect trap. It's like the IKEA version of an accidental marriage. The punchline? Your for now furniture isn't waiting to be replaced. It's waiting for you to accept that it has already won. And off in the distance, something creaks, but not the piece you think. Number 4. The app you meant to delete last year. Picture this. You download an app just for the weekend. Maybe it's a calorie tracker. Maybe it's a game where you merge cartoon fruits. Maybe it's that meditation app that swore it could fix your brain chemistry with a single chime noise. You try it once, forget about it twice, and then it permanently lodges itself in your phone like a digital barnacle. Every time you scroll past it, you think, I should delete that, but your thumb just doesn't. Your brain has filed it under harmless, and maybe I'll use it someday, which is basically the psychological equivalent of shoving something into the junk drawer and closing it fast before it escapes. What's happening is a mix of digital hoarding and choice paralysis. Your mind loves keeping options open, even bad ones, because deleting something feels like sealing fate. You don't want to commit to not meditating. That would make you feel guilty. Better to leave the app there like a silent witness to your best intentions. And, the longer it stays, the more permanent it feels. Suddenly you've updated your phone 3 times and that useless app has survived like a tiny software cockroach. You don't even remember downloading it anymore. But there it is, aging along with you. The punchline? Some apps are supposed to be temporary tools, but your phone treats them like crypt keepers. That meditation app might never fix your anxiety, but it has definitely mastered one thing: refusing to leave. Somewhere in the digital void, a single notification pings ominously, one you definitely don't remember signing up for. Number 3. The temporary group chat. You know the one. The group chat created for one event, one project, one weekend trip that everyone swore would end once it served its purpose, and then it didn't. It mutated into something feral, something confusing, something powered entirely by memes and chaotic 2 a.m. messages from people who were only supposed to be acquaintances. These chats are psychological quicksand. You join thinking you'll stay for a few days, tops. But humans are social creatures, and we attach ourselves to anything that offers consistency, even if the consistency is just someone spamming pictures of their lunch. The group becomes comforting, familiar, even though half the participants have muted it, and the other half only show up to ask random questions like, "Does anyone know how to fix a dishwasher?" This is thanks to ambient intimacy, the weird modern phenomenon where you feel close to people simply because you hear from them often, even if the conversations make absolutely no sense. Your brain loves the background noise of other humans, so the chat keeps going long after its purpose died. And the punchline? The chat was created to plan a single barbecue. That barbecue happened 3 years ago. The chat, however, has become immortal. At this point, it will probably outlive several of its members' phone batteries and perhaps even their sanity. A mysterious typing bubble appears and vanishes, as if the chat itself knows you're watching. Number 2. The temporary job you accidentally built a life in. There's nothing quite like telling yourself, "I'll work here for a little bit just until something better comes along," and then suddenly, it's been years. Plural, multiple birthdays, multiple managers, 3 reorganizations, and at least one moment where you stared at the office microwave like it personally betrayed you. Temporary jobs have a superpower. They sneak into your routine like a cat that wandered into your house and never left. At first, you're just grateful it gives you a paycheck. Then you learn where the good parking spots are. Then you have a favorite mug. Then you start making inside jokes with coworkers. One day you look around and realize you've accidentally built an entire mini-life inside a place you swore you were just passing through. It's not weakness. It's psychology. Humans love stability. Even if it's the meh kind, you get comfortable, and comfort is the brain's ultimate trap. There's also the sunk cost fallacy whispering, "Well, you've been here this long. Might as well stay." It's like your brain is trying to convince you that staying in the lukewarm bath forever is somehow noble and wise. And then there's routine. Once your brain memorizes a pattern, wake up, get coffee, drag yourself through the same door every day, it latches on like a toddler hugging your leg. Change becomes harder. The temporary becomes permanent. The job becomes your job. And you only realize it when a new employee asks how long you've been there, and your answer makes you feel like a fossil. The punchline? That for now job wasn't temporary. It was the universe quietly setting up your long-term subscription without asking. Somewhere in the break room, a fluorescent light flickers dramatically, as if foreshadowing your next move. Number 1. The trend that refused to die. Remember when certain trends were supposed to be quick little cultural hiccups? Fads, flukes, 5 minutes of fame, and yet some of them are still here, clinging to society like a sticker you cannot scrape off your laptop. Maybe it's a phrase, maybe it's a hairstyle, maybe it's those weird foam shoes that people swore were jokingly ugly until suddenly everyone owned 5 pairs. Trends survive because of a psychological loop called social reinforcement. The more you see something, the more normal it looks, and the more you kind of want to join in, even if you swear you won't, even if you mock it, even if you say, "I would never." The human brain is the sponge for social cues, and once enough people adopt something, it stops being a trend and becomes the way things are now. And then there's nostalgia, the emotional blackmail artist of the mind. Once a trend sticks around long enough, people start defending it. They say things like, "It reminds me of simpler times," or "It's ironically stylish," which is basically code for, "I've emotionally bonded with this nonsense and you cannot take it from me." That's how temporary fads become permanent artifacts. They sneak past your skepticism, cozy up next to your identity, and suddenly they're a core memory. You don't just tolerate the trend, you advocate for it. It becomes part of the cultural wallpaper, impossible to remove without tearing everything else around it. The punchline? Trends don't disappear. They hibernate, and every time you think one is finally gone, it pops back up like, surprise, bestie, miss me? In the distance, you hear the faint rustle of a comeback nobody asked for. And that's where we'll wrap it for today. If you made it this far, your attention span deserves a trophy, or at least a cookie. If you want more weird psychology, accidental history, and the strange little things humans do without meaning to, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Seriously, there's a whole lot more chaos to unpack, and I'd love to drag you along for it. Subscribe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.